If you pull out your phone and you ask Siri, who started, and you can name any religion. Siri, who started the Methodist Church? Siri, who started the Mormon Church? She'll come back and say Joseph Smith. If you say, Siri, who started the Baptist Church? She'll say John Smith. If you say, Siri, who started the Episcopalian Church? She'll say Samuel Seabury. As I said this morning, God bless Samuel Seabury. If you ask Siri who started the Catholic Church, it says Jesus Christ. It says Jesus Christ. This talk is why the Catholic faith has the fullness of the truth, and it leads into God's divine mercy. The reason why we are doing this talk, I haven't done this talk in about 4 years, and it's because a new study that just came out states that only 17% of Catholics believe that our Catholic faith is the fullness and the one true faith. I absolutely was dumbfounded. And to be given the gift that we've been given in our faith and have only 17% believe that it is the one true faith. Now, I want to point out in the very beginning, I'm not here at all to lower other religions. I'm here to elevate our faith to the place it belongs, the religion started by Jesus Christ. And this religion is different than every other religion. I'm not out to discredit anybody else or to lower anybody else. Please don't take it that way. Hear me out, and then you make the call. Does that sound fair? Okay, so that's what we'll do. Now, our faith, the Catholic faith, is one of the most misunderstood, it probably is the most misunderstood faith in the world. Between Bible only, faith alone, the Pope, saints, relics, purgatory, Mary, the Eucharist. These are all things that we are misunderstood. But Fulton Sheen had an excellent quote one time, and he said, millions of people hate what they think is the Catholic Church, but very few hate what actually is the Catholic Church. And I think that's important. I'm doing this talk because we are losing Catholics everywhere, in our own families, in our own neighborhoods. And I'm not meant to be a downer here, but we will be morally responsible if we let our loved ones fall from the faith without at least showing them the love that we have of our own faith. Doesn't mean you have to push them or that you stand on a soapbox or that you got to be forceful with them or cause division. No, no, no. All it means is that we want to see the beauty in our own faith. This is important. Now, as I said, it does matter what you are. It does. The Catholic Church has gotten so many black eyes, and deservedly so, because she's human and divine. In her divine nature, she's perfect. In her humanness and her human nature, she's been pretty stupid. And so we're going to focus on the divine nature today and talk about that. Now, did you know that the Catholic Church basically built Western civilization? Universities, hospitals, charities, education, these are all because of the Catholic Church. Every day, the Catholic Church feeds, clothes, shelters, and educates more than any other organization in the world. This could all end, however, if our government has its way, and if this is taken away from the church, taxpayers will have to pick up all of this loss, because the church educates, feeds, and takes care of millions. You see, the government doesn't realize that when they keep threatening the Catholic Church. We're going to strip you of this and strip you of your tax-exempt status and all that. What they don't realize is then they're going to have to pick up the tab on billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that the church spends on taking care of society. All right. Today, there are over 40,000, or I should say almost 40,000 Christian denominations. Now, I raise the question, they all believe something different, or they would be the same religion. There's 40,000 or almost 40,000 Christian denominations. Now, can you have 40,000 different truths? No. So which one has got the fullness of the truth? The church even admits all other religions have some of the truth, but only one. There can only be one truth. Let's look at this. You know, when I lived in North Carolina, all my neighbors were Baptists. God bless them, they were good people. Probably the holiest person I ever knew in my life was my little 98-pound Baptist secretary. But who started the Baptist religion? Anybody know? John Smith in 1609. When I lived in Utah, I was a real little kid. All our neighbors were Mormons. They were some of the nicest, most honest people you ever met. No crime. We didn't have to lock our doors. The Mormons are beautiful people, but who founded the Mormon religion? Joseph Smith in 1830. Then I lived in Michigan. My neighbors were all Episcopalian. God bless them, they were great people. But who started the Episcopalian faith? Some people say Henry VIII. Actually, yeah, that's a good guess, but the American version, Episcopalian faith, was Samuel Seabury in 1789. Now, God bless Samuel Seabury, but he's not Jesus Christ. Who started the Catholic faith? Nobody. Nobody even lays claim to this. Even history doesn't argue this. It was Jesus Christ. And this is important because one of the missions Christ had when he came to earth is he said, I'm going to start a church. But does anybody here think that Jesus is going to come to earth, say, I'm going to start a church, which he did, and then say, I'm going to start a church, but I'm going to get it wrong for 1,500 years until Martin Luther gets it right? I don't think so. Do you know the church fathers for 1,500 years wrote about Mary and the Eucharist more than anything else? Two things that are only Catholic. Yes, we are challenged by our Protestant brothers and sisters, God bless them. Jesus is the only mediator. This is true. But his body is the church. So when we go through the church, we are going through Christ as mediator. The world's oldest continuous running institution, still in existence, is the Catholic Church. Do you think that's by mistake? It's despite ourselves. You know, when Napoleon once said to a cardinal, I'm going to destroy the Catholic Church. And the cardinal said to Napoleon, you think you can destroy the church? And Napoleon said, yep. And the cardinal said, priests and bishops have been trying to do that for 1,800 years. What makes you think you're going to do it? All right. The fact is, the church is divine and it's human. In her humanness, she makes the mistakes. But we are patterned. People don't understand this. Many non-Catholics will say, you know what? You only need scripture. You only need the Bible. That's all you need. But who do we come from? Christianity comes from the Jews. And the Jews had the same three legs of their stool that we have. We're not scripture only. We're also tradition and the magisterium, right? You should know this. Do you know the Jews? They were magisterium. It was the teaching authority of Moses. They also had a second leg, scripture, which was the Torah and the 10 Commandments. And they had the third leg of our same stool. They had tradition. It came down with Moses and is throughout the Old Testament. All right, let's start with the Bible. Are we Catholics Bible-based? Oh, come on. Okay. Scripture is needed, but it's not sufficient. How do I know this? It says so in the Bible. The last chapter of the last gospel, John, says very clearly, if everything Jesus said and did were to be written down, all the books in the world couldn't contain it. Well, we know that the Bible isn't all the books in the world. The Bible's this thick. So does that mean the other things Jesus said and did aren't important? Absolutely not. Sola Scriptura, Bible only. Is that in the Bible? Nope. But guess what is? Oral tradition. 2 Thessalonians 2:15. Jesus never promised a book, but he promised an authority, the church. And this is important. What came first, the Mass or the Bible? The Mass. The Bible was created to be read at the Mass. And we will talk about that. This is why 1 Timothy 3:15 says the church is the pillar and the bulwark of the truth. It tells you what makes up the Bible. You know, a quick story. I had a great employee down in North Carolina named Ed. Sadly, he was a fallen away Catholic. And one day he's in my office and I had a crucifix, not quite that big, but a crucifix hanging on my wall next to, behind my seat. And Ed comes in one day and he's talking to me and I see him keep looking up at the crucifix. And finally he loses it and he says, "Chris, can I close the door?" And I said, "Yeah." And he slams the door shut and he pulls out his Bible. And it wasn't this big, but it was big. And he says, "Chris, this is all you need. You don't need anything else. All you need is the Bible. I hate to see you going astray with all this other stuff." I said, hold on a minute, Ed. You're right. We do need the Bible. But I got a question for you. Do you accept the authority of that Bible? He says, "Yeah." I said, "Do you accept the authority from which it came?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you believe every word in it is true?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Congratulations, Ed. You accept the authority of the Catholic Church."